So, Frank Seravalli is giving us the update here on the Daily Faceoff website. This is from an article from a few days ago, so go ahead and check it out. The link is going to be in the description below. But he goes over a few updates as to some little tidbits around the NHL, and some of these are pretty interesting, which is why we're talking about one of them here today in this video. So, we're continuing our discussion on Vladimir Tarasenko, St. Louis Blues sniper and primetime player, a star who has been kind of unhappy with his position on the team the past few months. Now, we had the entire Vladimir Tarasenko trade saga go on. That was a really big deal where he was very publicly wanting out of the team, but that ended up not happening as he is still a member of the St. Louis Blues today. Now, because there was no trade, because this stuff is still going on, it still is a pretty interesting talking point to bring up. Now, you can go ahead and review the entire discussions we have had leading up to this point. They're all still publicly available on YouTube, from the concerns as to why exactly he wants out to what teams could be involved, but Frank Seravalli gives us an update as to where things are today. Let's go over onto this article and read what he has to say at the end. Keep an eye out on Vladimir Tarasenko's start in St. Louis. To this point, everyone has done and said the right things, playing nice in the sandbox. But that doesn't change the fact that Tarasenko still strongly desires a trade. If Tarasenko gets off to a hot start, a trade could well materialize. Think back to last season. Patrik Laine entered the year in a similar situation. He scored twice on opening night and was soon then traded to Columbus for Pierre-Luc Dubois. The same could happen here. Tarasenko has let it be known that he is finally healthy after 2 botched shoulder surgeries, but the 29-year-old proving that he is back to his 30-goal sniper self is another matter. Tarasenko has 2 years remaining on his $7.5 million cap hit, while next season's actual cash payment drops down to $5.5 million. So, Tarasenko is still on the block in a way that could be akin to that of Patrik Laine. If you remember the Patrik Laine saga, this one was a pretty big deal too. It materialized about, was it a year ago? I believe it was. January 2020, I believe. No, 2021, excuse me. Yeah, it was just under a year ago, and that thing was a really big kind of conundrum of a situation as well. A trade with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Patrik Laine just made so much sense because both of these guys were top picks of 2016's draft, and they both wanted out, and there was all this publication going on about their concerns, and even though the year had started and Patrik Laine actually looked really good in his Winnipeg Jets 2020-2021 debut, you had yourselves what were some subsisting rumors throughout the time. So seeing him actually get moved around for Dubois made a lot of sense. As for Tarasenko, though, this is the concern that has been there and will still be there until the St. Louis Blues take to the ice and actually see Tarasenko make his move. His status as a hockey player. 14 points, 24 games played in 2020-2021, 2 goals in 4 games in the postseason as well. And you take a look at where he was in 2019-20, 4 games played, 0 points in the postseason, while he had 10 points in 10 games in the regular season. That was before his entire health scare where he had to miss the entire remainder of the season. Before then, though, as Seravalli noted, Tarasenko was a consistent 30, sometimes 35, 40 goal guy in the National Hockey League, and he was honestly one of these guys that was supposed to take the league into the next generation's worth of goal scoring. I remember making all my predictions in fantasy back in grade 9 and grade 8, talking about how, Tarasenko's going to win the Rocket Richard Trophy. He's that good. He's going to be able to get 50 goals or whatever. It never materialized, but he still went out there as a consistent 30-goal guy. Now, the botched shoulder surgeries were a very big part as to why he even wants out. The fact that the St. Louis Blues medical staff was going out there and doing this stuff to him was not the best, and it's also part of the reason why Tarasenko's growing desire to depart from St. Louis started materializing, I guess you could say. But even though that may be the case, you still have to be a professional about it. He is still a hockey player who has some value, and he's still a hockey player who can score some goals, or at least that's what we want to believe. He's got 2 more seasons left at his $7.5 million AAV, and it's probably in his own best interest to go out there and play the best that he could be playing for the Blues this season, just so that trade manifests itself a little bit faster. It's a lot easier to make a trade for Vladimir Tarasenko with his $7.5 million AAV when a team acquiring him is like, okay, yeah, look at that. He's got 5 goals in 2 games played. This guy's still good, he's still consistent, and he's still capable of playing. Now we can pull the trigger on him. It's just going to be interesting, though, mostly because you still have some other snipers that are available in the market as well. Tarasenko's a left-handed guy, for example. You have Phil Kessel, who is a right-handed guy, who is also on the trade block, too. We had the Devils and the Islanders and the Rangers, the teams that were all interested beforehand in Tarasenko. It's going to be interesting, though, seeing if any of those teams want to bite on still. For New Jersey, I mean, with all the additions they made in the offseason, Thomas Tatar, one of them, Alexander Holtz is still developing there in the AHL. Do you really need a Vladimir Tarasenko on your squad now that you have that goal-scoring need that is filled up? Plus, you also are spending money on Dougie Hamilton, so would you be even in a position to acquire a guy like Tarasenko and make it work financially? The Rangers are also a really interesting one as well, because Vitaly Kravtsov is on this team, or not on this team, excuse me. He got sent down to the Hartford Wolfpack, and he does not want to report because he's frustrated he did not make the team. Furthermore, we had the entire notion as to why the Rangers don't even want to use Kravtsov on their team, because they want their solidified roles set in place, and Kravtsov, who is not necessarily physical, not necessarily defensively capable, but who is a Russian sniper who can score, doesn't really fit the mold of what they have in their bottom 6, or what they want to have in their bottom 6, I should say. It brings up that entire philosophical debate that we talked about a few days ago, or was it yesterday? I completely forgot. If you're not willing to go out there and play Vitaly Kravtsov in your top 6, you're not willing to give this sniper, goal-scoring guy a spot in your lineup, how are you going to expect acquiring a top 6 player for this guy? And furthermore, when you acquire a top 6 player for Kravtsov, how are you going to justify putting them in your top 6 when that's what you did not want to do earlier with Kravtsov in general? It's going to be strange if New York is still involved in this, if they acquire a Vladimir Tarasenko just to play him with Panarin or something. Having a Tarasenko-Panarin would be really great, but you would need to go out there and drop one of the Lafrenières or the Kakos onto your bottom 6, which is what you did not want to do earlier because you had Kravtsov in the first place, probably going out there trying to replace that Buchnevich scoring. It just didn't work out, and now the Rangers are kind of in a strange spot to begin with, so yeah. Strange situations going on for the teams that were reportedly interested in Tarasenko in the first place. We still do have some other squads as well, like the Carolina Hurricanes. Who knows if they're going to be still getting involved in these discussions. I mean, they have Kotkaniemi now, so I don't really know if it will be the best move to go out there and get themselves another expensive asset. But either way, we have ourselves the word for Tarasenko in the trade block. The St. Louis Blues NHL season, it kicks off today. They're facing the Colorado Avalanche, and they're going to be doing that, in like 3 hours from this video's upload time? So, hey, if Tarasenko gets a hat trick, he looks really good. Maybe he gets traded tomorrow. But either way, talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Tarasenko and the entire trade saga still continuing? I love how Seravalli phrases it in the article that these teams are still playing nice in the sand, but that there still are some trade desires to be made. Let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. Link in the description as well to the Seravalli piece, so go ahead and check that out on Daily Faceoff. And bye.